Alright everyone, welcome back. The last video we did some basic UI stuff with the new UI system. We now have a door that sends a message to the player when you approach it and tells you what key to press to open it. So in the other video I had almost added a button and then I didn't. Now I'm going to actually add a button in as well as do some reloading of a scene. So when we want to actually load up a scene, you have to add it to the build settings. So our demo scene, I'm going to go up to File, Build Settings, and then we're just going to say Add Current. And now this scene is labeled as Scene 0, and the name is Demo, and now we can actually load it in script when we get to that point. So our player's at the bottom, and we travel up to the door, and then we go up the tower to the top. What I would like to do is create an end kind of portal, and then when I enter the portal, it's going to reset me back to the beginning of the level. So up here at the very top of this tower, I need to create some sort of a portal-esque object. So I'm going to go Game Object, and let's just do a 3D like sphere or something. Add a sphere and put it up to the top here. And then a portal usually isn't something that like casts a shadow, it's more of like a light. So I'm gonna remove on the mesh render, I'm gonna turn off cast shadows as well as receive shadows. And then we're gonna scale this up and scale it up kind of like this, kind of like that or whatever, or maybe just as a sphere. I can probably tweak this in a later video to make this a little more portal-ish, but for now we're going to just create something. So put this in the corner, and we'll call this portal. This portal is going to be, there we go. This portal needs to be semi-transparent. So in our project, let's see, I'm going to go into in the test assets, I'm just going to create a material and call this portal mat. Portal mat is going to be, let's do purple because that's kind of a portal-y color, and we're going to make it transparent. So I'm going to pull down the alpha, but I have to change the shader type to, let's do transparent, and then I want to do vertex lit instead. If I do diffuse, it'll take lighting usually. Let's see what that looks like. So if I do diffuse, it kind of looks like this. It still has some shading on it. I don't want the shading on it. I want it to be all bright. So if I can do unlit transparent. There we go. Unlit transparent. Oh, that doesn't take a color though. We need a color. So transparent and vertex lit, and then let's do spec color. Bright purple, and emissive bright purple. There we go. That looks like a completely purple sphere. So do something like that. And this is going to need a trigger volume. Trigger volume probably want to be, we can leave it the same size, that's fine. I'm going to duplicate this though and just give it kind of a second layer to this. This second layer doesn't need a collider, just to make like another shape, something like that. That's good, kind of portal-y. Can't see it through the floor. So our portal, I'm gonna need to create a script for. So let's go into scripts, create C# script, and call this. Let's do end portal. And in the end portal, we'll go ahead and put this on here. There we are. So the end portal, I want to do a few things. So let's close that here. End portal, what end portal is going to do, and let me zoom in. End portal is going to, when the player enters, will be stopped from interacting, and UI message for entering the portal press a button to load next scene, something like that. So what we're going to need is we need the end portal to know who the player is, and we can get the player on the trigger enter, so I'm not worried about that one. But what I need is the UI system we created. So I believe public UI system was what it was. UI, we'll just do that, and that way we can send messages to the player. And I believe that's really it. So let's, instead of this stuff, let's go void on trigger enter, and then we need to say collider other, and then if other dot tag equals player, we're gonna have to first, I want to stop the player. So let's see, I might have to add some functionality for that, because we don't want to just turn the player off. We want to stop him from moving, from having input. So that'll be something we have to add. So we'll put stop player input, and then we're going to say UI dot, I believe we had a message in here for show message. Show message is going to be, it would take a string, so we're going to have to create a string for that. We'll call this portal text for now, and then put up a public string portal, here we go, portal text. So in order to get a button system in here, I'm actually going to add some functionality, or we can add a new message to our UI. So let's do that. I'm going to hop back over. Where's our UI system? UI system, there we go. So open the UI system. In the UI system I had show message, hide message. So let's do, instead of show or hide, let's do like a show button message. Let's do public void show button message. It's going to take a string called message, and then in the button message is actually have a button on it, and the button's not going to go away, or the message isn't going to go away until we click that thing. So there's going to have to be a different message box, and we'll do public void hide button message. That doesn't need a string. So it's going to take a similar thing like this. It's going to hide the message text. This would be a separate text actually. So that's message panel. We're going to need public game object say button message panel, public text button message text. That way it's a separate panel altogether. So we need button message text and button message panel. All right, so hide that panel or show that panel. Show the panel, we're going to do it here. Button message text and button message panel. And on start, we're going to have to hide button message, because we don't want that to be there. So let's see. Also, if the button, let's do, okay, instead of the portal locking it, let's do the button message is going to lock the player. So I'm going to also get public game object the player. We're going to grab the player. The player is going to be, I guess I don't want player so much as I'm going to need like a player script or something to stop the player from moving. Possibly. We'll have to add something to the character controller to stop him from actually taking input. So let's leave that off for right now, and we're going to have to add that too. So in here we have a new message type that we have to create that has to be clicked on, and then the end portal is going to show, should be show button message. So show button message. There we go, show button message, portal text. So now it's taking that one instead. There's that. So if we go to the canvas now, set this to 2D. Now the canvas has this original message panel. I'm going to create a new one. I'm going to duplicate it. Turn this other one off for now. This panel will be the button panel. This panel has text, but also is going to need a button in here. So game object UI button, and then this button in this panel, and then we can kind of move it down to where we need it to be. Make sure this is bigger. It's closer to our scale of things. Button message. The text on it is going to say, okay. Oh, text. Change it down here to okay. To, or accept. That's probably better, accept. And then we'll need this to be anchored in here, but the text right now is kind of going over it, so we're going to lift that up. And then should give that a little spacing there. And then we're going to anchor this text. Text I need you to anchor here. So it stays in about this position on our window. And then our button needs to be anchored where it's at. If I resize now, it's going to do that. So that's a little better. Okay, so buttons, in order for it to do something, they have something called on-click in their navigation system. So if we add something here, I can give it a game object for where it's going to take a function from. So I can select the canvas or a UI system and then add in here UI system. And then we're going to have hide button message. So hide button message will be called when I click on this. So if I leave this, if I left it up, I would actually be able to close it. So let's turn off in the UI system. We have hide button message on start. Let's hide that out. And then if I hit play, I will have the message, and then if I click on it, null reference. I'm not giving it something. So canvas, hide button message, getting a null reference when clicked. So canvas doesn't have something. Button message panel. So I need to give it the button message panel, and I give it the text that it takes. Now if I try, okay, accept, hides my message. So now we know that the button works. So we can turn back on in the start, hiding this message. There we are. And now when the portal calls it, this button message is going to come up instead. So the button message, now we want it to lock the player whenever we interact with it. So close that out. Also, depending on what the button message does, we need to be able to tell it what kind of interaction the button message does. So if I send button message, let's also do what kind of functionality do we want. Button message, and then we'll also give it a let's say string for now, and say type. And there's a better way to do that. We can do like a list of specific names of things or whatever, but I'm going to say type, and I'm just going to say if no, that might not work the way I want it. What I want to do is when the button message comes up, when I click the button, I don't want it just to hide the button. I want it to do something, whatever it is that it's going to do. So if I were to show a message, I would have to find a way to track what it does. For now, it's going to hide the message, or it would hide message, but we want it to actually load something. So public, let's go void and say load level, and it's going to take an int. And that'll be one way to do it. Int level num, And then we're going to say, when we click that accept button, it's going to say application, load level, and then we're going to do it, you can do it by string or by the number. So we can do level num. If you save that, there you go. So level num will actually do that instead. And then it would put me at the very beginning of the level when I click it. So let's give this a shot. I need to run up to the portal, and then I'm going to click on the button. When I enter it, it's going to do this, and then if I click on that, then it'll send me away. Also, I should probably, if I leave the portal, let's do that, void on trigger exit collider other. If I leave the portal, let's hide the button. So I'm going to do then when I click accept, it's going to load the level. If I leave the portal, then it's going to tell me the opposite. So UI hide button message. Okay. Hide button message. And then in the UI system, we've got load level, void load level, and give it a number. Load level is the function we're going to give the button. So let's go to the button, and under here, instead of high button message, we're going to say UI system load level. Load level is going to be 0 for this button. And so if that should all be set up. So if I hit play, let's go ahead and maximize this. We have our items. If I pick up an item, they go away. So that's there. I'm going to run up the hill. And here we go. There's the portal at the top. There's our door. If I run to the door, it's going to use our first message type. It's going to say press E to interact. I press E and I run into the building. Going up the stairs. And there's the portal. If I walk into the portal, null reference. What do we got? On trigger, enter and exit. What does the portal need? What did we miss? Portal text, the UI system. That's what it needs. The portal also needs text. As you enter the portal, you feel a strange sensation. Do you wish to proceed? And now it should work. So try this one more time. Maximize. Here we go. So let's run back up the hill to our tower. Running. And then if this works, it should reset me back to the beginning of this level. So door, E to open, going up the stairs. The reason why we want to lock the character is because I don't want the camera to rotate. Let me do this, so, okay. Oh, it changed the name of the button. That's not what we want, but yes. So, that reset, but we gave it the wrong text for the panel. So UI, the button message text is actually this one. And then, yeah, that button should say accept. So, save this one last time to make sure this works. Just so it has it in the right place. I want to make sure everything's writing out properly before I continue any further with that. Up the hill, jumping up the hill. Go up the steep side. Run back up here. Into the door. Going up the pathway, the ramp. Here's the portal. Enter the portal. Now it says, as you enter the portal, you feel a strange sensation. Do you wish to proceed? So if I hit accept, now I'm at the very beginning of the level. So it resets and everything's back to normal. All right, so now I want the player to be locked. The player has the character motor and mouse look and that kind of stuff. So if I get the player, I can actually turn off mouse look and character motor, and I should be able to, it shouldn't have me move or anything. So I'm gonna give that a test by hitting play here. And then here's moving and looking. If I turn off mouse look and the character motor, I can look up and down, but not left and right. That's not bad. That's the camera's rotation still working. So the camera has its own stuff on here, its own mouse look. So if I were to turn off the cameras too, then that would also work. So I can say if this message comes up and we know that my player has character motor and mouse look, I can get those components. So I can say if I show button message should say, do I want to do it here? Let's do it on the portal. The portal shows a button message, so let's use the portal to talk to the player. Stop player input by going other dot get component. We're going to look for mouse look and then set this to enable. There we go. Enabled equals false. So we're going to turn off mouse look, get component, and we're going to get character motor. For some reason that didn't have a name. It's because mouse look is C# and the character motor is JavaScript. Mixing JavaScript and C# can become very difficult sometimes. So get component, say other dot get component. It's not really like a way to get it by name, so I'm going to say character motor and say enable equals false, and we're going to see if I can do that. It's probably going to yell at me because it's JavaScript. Doesn't seem to be though. So I'm going to go ahead and hit play. And that should disable those things when I walk in there. But when the level restarts, they should be enabled again and I should be able to walk around. So here's hoping all of that works. And we'll have our transition. Up, E for the door, walking up here. There's our portal. Oh, there you go. It locked, can't move. As you enter the portal, you feel a strange sensation. Do you want to proceed? Accept. Now we're at the beginning. I can rotate and move again. So there you have it. There's a button UI system. We're disabling stuff through a script to stop the player from moving, and we have a loading the same level that we were working on, so it resets us back to the beginning. Loading the level can be used for menus. They can be used for like secret rooms or whatever. However, when you reload the scene, if you're not tracking things that have already been completed in a different manner, which we can go into later, something like player preferences or whatever, then everything will reset back to normal. It's a clean start. So as a scene closes and a new one opens, you lose whatever progress was made unless you're actually tracking it outside of that. But anywho, there is loading levels, buttons, and a neat little loop for our project.